Hey everyone, welcome back to the Mark Loeffler Experience. We've got Cody Yeh again with us, and we're going to be talking WallStreet Bets. We're going to be talking GameStop. We're going to be talking about the next new and best thing that not WallStreet Bets is talking about, yet other people are talking about, which is silver.
Yes,
All right,
silver.
So before we get into it, everyone, you got to smash that like button for the YouTube algorithm. It really does help. The more you press it, the more people see it and pushes it out. So if you find this content useful, then other people might as well. So thank you. Smash the like button and let's get started. All right, let's talk about the nuttiness last week. So this all started last Monday, a little bit, right? Like it was started before that, but last Monday was when it really poop started to hit the fan. Like GME, GameStop was up like 100% that day. It was like, it was nuts, right? For me last week, for me, Monday felt like a week. Tuesday felt like a week. Like, I was so tired because like just watching this unfold and like being in it and around it.
Yes.
Like it made me an old man in a week. Like it was pretty bad. So let's talk about what happened. So GME and the WallStreet Bets guys, they were watching the most shorted stocks. GME had a short, like it almost, well, at the time, I think it was 90% of all their stock were sold short. So somebody had sold it saying it's going to go down, and it was a lot of big hedge funds. And then the WallStreet Bets guys were, okay, we can do a short squeeze on this because, and screw these big hedge funds and cause what now has happened is a massive transfer of wealth from the hedge funds to retail investors. I mean, the number of people I've talked to that literally have made $1 million on this thing is nuts. I mean, I'm probably the only person out there who's lost on it. Actually, I know a couple other people who have as well. I didn't lose that much, but like I lost because I was like, this is stupid. You know, volatility is going to collapse and I'm just going to sell a call and I'll make some money on it. And that obviously went against me. And I got caught after the Elon tweet. And I had to buy it for a loss. Yeah, GameStop. But like this is like everyone's talking about this, right? So yeah, and so basically what they did was they ran up the price of the stock. You know, the shorts have to have assets to cover that that's short. So basically what it is a short squeeze. So they ran up the price of the stock, and then they either have to sell other positions to cover enough liquidity that they can hold their short there and they pay interest on that short. Or they got to sell the stock or buy the stock, which causes the price to go even higher.
Very, very good intro. Yeah, it's basically like going back a little bit. Usually a lot of hedge fund out there implement a strategy called long short. A lot of us heard about it, but not every one of us understand what that is. Basically, they choose a basket of stocks that they're very bullish on. They put long position, thinking they'll rally. And then they pick a basket of stocks they want to beat on because they think they don't have a future because they're losing money and all that. And GME, BlackBerry, Nokia tend to be one of those basket. And then they just short on it, whether they buy a put or whether they short the stock. And because of the WallStreet Bet, you know, there's historically been a lot of confrontation between hedge fund retail investor, and they finally gang up and see an opportunity of getting one back or get rich quick scheme, right?
Well, it's kind of the perfect storm, right? Because now they're talking about doing it with silver, SLV, and it's not the WallStreet Bets guys so much as it's some other people driving that. GameStop is a perfect example because their float, the amount of shares that are out there in the market was so small that these WallStreet Bets guys could run it up. Like, because, you know, if they bought and didn't sell, they were holding they were holding everything. So if nobody sold, then that would cause the price obviously to escalate really quickly, which, I mean, you saw like there was, I mean, pre-market, there was 100% price increases within 5-10 minutes. There was 10, 20% price differentials, right? Like it was nuts. Like it,
Yeah.
like this thing moved
It's
like I've never seen before. And that's like, yeah, I couldn't stop watching. I mean, it's literally like I was watching this train wreck and I'm like, wow, this is like literally the most interesting thing
yeah.
I've seen in a while. And I like after I lost some money, I was like, man, I'm on the sideline. I don't need to be up. I don't need to be down on this.
Yeah.
I'm just going to watch. And
It's almost like back in the days when people were shorting Tesla. Of course, Tesla is a totally different company now. They've proven themselves. But back when there was a lot of shorts on Tesla, and Tesla just run up like that, and a lot of people just have to take cover, and a lot of people get margin calls, so they were forced to basically buy the stock and push the stock up even more, right? So we have seen that. Of course, Tesla is a bit different, but this is not the first time we have seen this. But watching this on a daily basis with all the volatility going up and down, I have friends, I have a lot of my people in my Facebook group just message me and say, "Hey, Cody, this is life changing." And the only caution, there's nothing wrong with playing with this. There's nothing
oh,
wrong. Okay. A lot of people say, Cody, you're probably not playing. Yes, I'm not playing, but there's nothing wrong with playing. But there is something wrong if you put all your money in.
yeah, but a lot of these guys are saying, "Hey, let's take this to 10,000. Let's take to 1,000." Right? For that, I mean, like for that reason, I'm out. Right? Like I'm just
Yeah.
like this is silly. Like I mean, somebody had contacted somebody else who was on my show a while back, who's a good investor, and this
Yeah.
guy basically said, "Listen, I've made $1 million through GameStop. I turned 50,000 into $1 million." Right?
Yeah.
So basically, this hedge fund lost 2.5 billion. So they didn't lose it; they just gave it
Yeah.
to somebody else. Right? That's
Yeah.
all. That's how
Wealth
this works.
transfer.
It's, yeah,
Yeah.
wealth transfer. And this happened to be
Yeah.
from the big guys to the little guys. And I basically said to them, I'm like, listen, take the $1 million, take it out of that. You could literally just go lend out that and make 100 to $120,000 a year. Would that
Yeah.
change your life?
Now
And he's
that's
like,
life
yeah,
changing, right?
right. And I'm like, of course it would, right? So like, why risk that $1 million now? If you want to risk 50,000, take $950,000 out,
Yeah.
risk that same fifty thousand
Yeah.
dollars
That's
and,
very key.
and let it play, right? But I mean, a lot of
Yes.
these people are like, they're not selling. I mean, the amount of people that I've talked, like, I talk to a lot of people who trade and are in the market, and people know
Yeah.
that, and their kids are coming to them, their wives are talking about this, and
Yeah.
like their kids are coming, hey, dad, I need $2,000 to invest in GameStop.
Remember back when the wheat stock get hyped up, right? This is exactly what happened. When everyone start hearing about it, when all the buyers are already buying, that means there's no more buyer. And the risk of it pulling back or going back to original stock, it will only take a split confidence collapse. If one person starts selling, the next person starts selling, it could trickle down overnight really fast. So you touch on a really good point. Nothing wrong with playing with it. It's life changing for a lot of people, but make sure you already take some profit and then take away the money you already put in. So the rest that are in there, you can average out as it goes up or go down. Or even if you lose everything that you left in there, it still doesn't hurt your nest egg, right? And if you just say, I want to sell everything now, take that profit, turn it into a more stable cash flowing strategy, then here, that could be life changing too, right? And nothing wrong with that as well, right?
Well, I mean, here's the thing. As we are doing this at 10:53 on Monday morning, it's coming. This is coming out at 6:15. Like
Nice.
GME is down 30% right now, right? 20, yeah, it's
Correct.
down 30%, down $100. It's down to 225. And that could be the start of it, right? Who knows?
Yeah.
I mean, there's going to be some people who ride this thing all the way up. Like the guy again, he put 50 grand in, it's worth 22 million. I don't know. Like, did he get out? Like, I haven't seen his post for a while on Reddit. I mean, I hope he did because that's massive, right? Like
Yeah.
this, like that's what I like. This was game changing for a lot of people out there, and I'm just hoping that they're not lottery winners, right? Where they win
Yeah.
it and then they lose it quicker than they win it.
Just put it this way. When you buy lottery, you do not use all your money to buy that lottery. You use a little bit of change to buy that lottery. So same mentality. But a lot of very common mistake is the new traders, the retail traders get overconfident. It's that when you go to casino, you start winning 10 times in a row, you say, now I want to even double down because I'm on a streak. And that's when it will smack you. right? But instead, if they just, slowly decrease their bet, even if they start losing, they're still okay. They walk away with 5 times, 10x, 100x of the money, right? But
Yeah.
that's the risk management side of it that a lot of beginners do not have. And that's what get them into trouble, right? They get rich fast and get poor even faster, right? So
Yeah.
that's the part. It's hard to drill it into the new investor. I don't want to offend anyone, so I'm very cautious of what I say, but just take profit accordingly, right? At least take out the money you put in. Then the rest, just let it run. If you having fun, kind of watching a movie, just have fun with that as well, right? Nothing wrong with
Listen, if you're up 20 or 100 times on the money,
that.
like that's ridiculous, right? I would take out your profit and let your existing thing ride. Like
Yep.
that to me, like if that's what you want to do, I do have a habit of taking profit early. You don't ever get killed by taking an early
No,
profit. Like,
you never lose money from by taking profit, right? No one
yeah,
ever lost money.
I don't need to hit the high. I
Yes.
just don't. I don't need to hit the low, right? Like I didn't
Yes.
like when I lost money on GME. I was out, and I'm like,
Yeah.
good. I don't even need to put this on. Like, it's still on my ticker because I want to watch the train wreck. But other than that, it's not really like I'm not.
Yeah.
It's just I'm not touching it. It doesn't. I don't need to, right? Like it just.
Yeah. And it's good that you have that mentality because a lot of people will revenge trading. A lot of time I used to play real people poker tournament, right? So whenever I see people lose money, they lose money. The next thing they walk to the ATM, they pull out double of the money and come back and look at me and say, now I want to get back to you. And they tend to just keep losing, right? It's good that
Yeah.
you have to discipline and say, hey, I tried it once. That was fun. It's okay. I make more money elsewhere. I can cover that, move on, right? So
Well, and
it's
that's
yeah, that's a
huge. Like
discipline. Yeah,
I was literally talking to somebody about that on the Tuesday. So the Monday, no, Tuesday I lost them. Tuesday, Wednesday was I don't remember one of those days.
yeah,
It's a last week was a blur. But
yeah,
like I was literally talking to somebody. They're like, oh, they want to talk to me about it. I'm like, well, it happened. I'm out, and I have to adjust my trading accordingly now
yeah,
to like my new account size. Like this is my new account size. I
yeah,
can't worry about what it was. This is what it is. I adjust
yeah,
my trading according to that account size, and
yes,
it just see like when I'm up, I
yeah,
now adjust my trading to that new account size.
correct.
Yesterday happened.
It's
Today is the
yesterday.
reality, and
Yes.
I move forward on that. Like I don't, and I say this to everybody is if you have a loss, and then what you want to do is make up that loss, and that's all you're thinking about, you're going to lose
Oh
more
man,
because you're
you're
going
gonna
to
lose
risk.
more. You're gonna risk. Yes. When you lose 50%, you need to make 100% to get back. So a lot
Yep.
of time you do riskier thing. We put on more money to get it back, right? You think that's easier, and that's the biggest trap, right? And I want to say, on this, like on record, it's kudos to you because Mark, for you to share that losing experience of selling naked call on GME, I'm sure there's tons of people that's doing that out there, especially more experienced people because they've seen what happened. But it's hard to time that high and then try to short it. Right? Thanks for you to sharing that because I know a lot of people out there will echo that. And
Yeah.
it's not about, okay, now you make a decision on that. At that point, you make the best decision. You think that makes sense based on your decision. But okay, you didn't win on that one. But how do you get back from there? You didn't revenge trading. You take that lesson and say, okay, now I'm just going to hold. I'm not going to look at it. I'm not going to touch it even for a couple of days. Just let myself calm down. Right. When I was day
Yeah.
trading, that's a key thing. When a coach taught me is like, Cody, if you lose money 3 days in a row, stop for 3 days. Just go enjoy it because you need to like kind of get back to ground zero. Right.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're just like constant in that vicious cycle. Right. So takes a lot of courage to share, and I think it's a lot more powerful to share vulnerability than always winning, right? Because there's a lot of people
Well,
tend when they lose, they tend to just hide and then they don't talk about it. And winners kept coming out and flashing all those 100%, 1,000%. It makes the losers feel bad, right? But now you're coming out and say, hey, you're doing this. More people are like me. I feel you guys just don't go and revenge trading. Otherwise, you're going to lose more, right? I think that's
yeah.
a very key message,
Yeah.
right?
Well, and here's the thing. At the end of the day, like that money will return to
Yes, it will.
me. I gave it over here, and it'll come back in another way. I know that, and I'm really confident of that. And it
Yeah.
just, again, it's a matter of patience. A lot of it's just patience and like working through the trades I know that are good, and
Yeah.
just being patient with those trades. Like, again, I was losing money Thursday, Friday on those trades because what had happened was all these shorts were selling off like good positions. Like, I had a position in Amazon.
Correct.
So
Correct.
Amazon dropped because people were selling Amazon to cover margin and interest on
Correct.
their GameStop position. So
Very true.
now with GameStop down 30%, like now Amazon is flying up,
Up.
right?
It's just money flowing around, right? And on top of hedge fund trying to cover their losses or their margin calls when they're shorting those ME stocks. Second thing is some smart money saw what happened and they just say, we're going to take some profit. We're going to sit on the sideline and wait. Right. So there's two factors why all the good quality stock tend to pull back. Right. Last week, I have a good earning on Apple, on Microsoft, on Facebook. A lot of my
Jesus.
alumni ask, what's going on, Cody? You pull back so much. I'm like, no, this is not normal. This is exactly what's happening. So don't worry. I
Yeah.
think coming week when people get back their sense, it'll go back up again. This is just a small blip in the long term, right? So
Well, it was one of my favorite things to do was always to sell puts after earnings, because you see there'd be
yeah,
great earnings and great guidance,
yeah,
which is them saying, "Hey, this is what we're going to do in the future. We're going to grow
yeah.
more," and they would drop, and you're like, "This makes no sense." So I would sell my puts at a support level, and yeah, that was one of my favorite plays. So
Yeah. Can I add something to that? Because that's something I taught in the course. That's one of the golden nuggets I touch on is within the first 15 minutes after the earning day. So that's say the earning day was yesterday at 4 p.m. This morning, if the stock tank, okay, the first 15 minutes, the volatility is still really high. They're still trying to adjust to it in the stock tank. So it's a good time to, like yourself, find a good support, sell the put. You get paid so much.
yeah.
The worst case is you own that stock, you get paid so much premium. A lot of time, IV will adjust. Even if stocks stays the same or go down a little bit, by the end of the day, you can buy back 30 or 50%. I've seen that multiple times. So that's
Yeah,
one of the strategy
I've
I
done that a
like as
lot
well.
too. Yeah.
It's
Well,
really a lower risk and good return strategy, right?
and just talking about that, I mean, I know that you run your courses, you run your Facebook group. You're obviously pretty. We're gonna put links to everything down below, so don't try to write all this stuff down. So you run the Facebook group, and I know like a lot of it's beginners options, stock and options trading,
Correct.
on Facebook, and then you have your Instagram, and then you have your intermediate course coming up, right? Is that
Yes, correct. So already ran 3 beginner course. I try to improve it every single time. Now it's to the point I'm quite comfortable. All my alumni and people in my public Facebook group, some of them are more experienced and they're looking for something at the next level. They say, Cody, I know selling puts, I know cover call, I know how to buy good stocks and all that, but how do I get to the next level? So in the intermediate course, I will cover things like when to roll a put and when to get a sign sell cover call, because that's a very key question to answer as well, right? When should you do that, right? And then on top of that, I will, besides the selling option, selling put, selling cover calls, a good cash generating skills. But now I'll touch on the buying side of the option. A lot of people say, hey, buying side is a gambling, but if you do it right, a small
yeah,
chunk of a portfolio going to the buying side of things, whether it's a 3 months out call or a 2 years out leaps, anything like that, if you allocate your portfolio correctly, it's almost like a hedge to your selling option strategy. And in the long term, if those stocks goes up, you're not only going to get some good cash flow, a small proportion of your portfolio is going to write up those appreciation a
you're
lot
gonna
more.
get
So
some
over,
great capital gain. Yeah.
you can get some great capital. It's almost like real estate is wealth generation, selling plus good cash flow, but now we implement some of those wealth generation into the stock investing strategy as well by buying
Mhm.
some calls. But again, very careful on how I do it, how I do the portfolio sizing, how much do I allocate to each strategy, how much do I allocate to each sector, right? So those are
Yeah.
the things I will touch on in my intermediate course. And those are usually require a bit of experience, a bit of getting smacked in the face multiple times, then you will understand what I'm talking about. And
Well,
I'll
I mean,
touch on, yeah.
Yeah, and just on that point, like people come in and they're like, "Well, I want to do this, this, and this." I'm like, "Yeah, okay. Here's what you do first. You read Derek Foster's book, Lee
Yeah,
Lowell. There's these courses over here. Go understand the basics of this first. Because if you
correct.
don't, if you've not been in the stock market, if you've not been
No,
selling options, you're not going to get the volatility. I mean, putting together a watch list. How do I put together a watch list? Well, I mean,
correct,
that's super basic, right? So you
correct,
need to know that before you take that next step up to the next level, typically. So,
correct.
I mean, there's lots of great courses out there. Obviously, Cody runs one. A lot of the people who have been on the channel, like Mike, runs a different style of course than Cody, right? So, like, and I mean, I work with both of these guys to gain knowledge for myself. So, if you guys are interested, we're going to link it down below. Anything you got to say before we jump off here, Cody?
What I like to say is whoever's experienced, last week, what started since March 2020, like kudos to you guys. If you guys make money, if you guys lose money, no matter what you guys are experiencing, a historical timing. Okay. And when I first take on student, like I like them to actually see the worst side of things. Like last week, a lot of my new students just went through the last week of roller coaster. And I want
Mhm.
them to go through that so I can actually hand hold them through the worst part. So after that, if it's rally, no one has question, right? But it's when those turmoil time, the discipline, the temptation, the greed, the fear, that's when they really need handholding.
Yeah.
So I'm kudos to everyone who participate and make some money. If you lose, no revenge trading and just keep doing the right thing, right? Keep asking yourself, is that the right thing to do? Can you accept the worst case scenario? And don't think about, even if you have a small amount of money, don't think about, I'm willing to lose it all, because that's still hard-earned money, right?
That's right. Just Warren Buffett. Be greedy when others are fearful, and don't kill the golden goose. The golden
Don't
goose
kill the golden
is
goose.
the golden goose is the money that you've saved. So
Correct.
don't kill that. Don't lose that money,
No,
because that's going to produce the golden eggs,
correct.
and you can reinvest that. So
Well said. Well said. Yeah, that's good lesson there for sure. Yeah.
all right. Thanks, Cody. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you guys in the next one. If you guys enjoy this video, let me know down below.
Smash
If
the like
you
button.
definitely smash the like button, but comment down below. Did you make money on GME? Did you lose money like I did? Or did you just sit on the sideline and say, holy crap, this thing's stupid? All right. Thanks, everybody.